Hello everybody, this is Le Minimum Lovable Product. I am Marco Lanzi and I'm about to bring you behind the scenes of building digital experiences that people will love. In the episode of today, Giorgia Kondi, Head of Europe for International Networks at Orange, one of the leaders in communication in Europe, is going to tell us which is the role of networks in digital transformation, how do you master the shift between Waterfall and Agile, and how do you forget about roles and focus about skills. So let's welcome Giorgia. Welcome everyone to another episode of Le MLVP. So we are here today with Giorgia Kondi, the head of Europe of International Networks for Orange. She's been working for many years with Orange in a lot of different positions, and we're gonna explain a couple of topics with her on all this world that is actually supporting the digital data flowing around the world. So welcome, Giorgia.
Thank you, Marco. I'm happy to be here.
So, first topic we wanted to touch base on today with Georgia is actually one of the things that not many often we speak about, that is that visible or invisible network of things that support our data and actually allow us to broadcast this podcast, share information, and actually use that thing called the internet. So, Georgia, tell us a little bit, what is the role that the network play in the digital world? How do you see the network in the digital transformation of the world?
Well, it's kind of an important role because without the medium to transport data, we wouldn't have any digital communication. So it is a key role that the network is playing, whether it is mobile networks or fixed networks. It is a medium to move the information around. And we see that it is very important for businesses because actually one of the things that businesses really demand is to have diversity in the network so that they can always be on. Even if there is a problem with one connection, they always demand diversity so that they always can have connectivity. So yeah, it's kind of key in communications.
Yeah, so I'd say resiliency, I assume, is as you were mentioning, is one of the big part. And have you seen any changes on the last 2 years with the move of people speaking normally to speaking everyone through video calls or anything with the mass experiment of remote working that happened? Did you see a lot of changes, lot of challenges, I assume?
Yes, well, like you said, remote working has had a big impact on network connectivity because we are using more and more video to do conferences, video conferences between colleagues, and this has really the data has always exploded since many years, but right now we see a big explosion of data demand, of capacity demand because we need more bandwidth in order to have video communications.
And that you see fixed versus mobile, do you see changes with the COVID, or is actually the same evolution that was already happening before?
I can't see that I have witnessed something like that because I'm working on fixed networks. I know that both fixed and mobile networks are experiencing really an explosion of capacity demand, but I wouldn't say that we've moved from mobile to fixed or the other way around.
Okay, so it's just a lot of bandwidth needs everywhere you are, everywhere you go. Okay, cool. So with all this booming and changing of request of needs and keep on continuing evolution, I guess you guys also face challenges, or how do we manage the new project, new initiative, things that roll out? As when we were talking, you mentioned so you guys are moving also to agile, so how to be more iterative and be more present, be more fluid on how you follow things. So how did you deal, or how are you dealing with this shift from project management, more waterfall, to agile? What are the challenges, pros and cons that you guys see?
Well, there are a few things that I can say about this question. I would say, first of all, we have progressed a lot more in agile methods within IT projects because agile method has been conceived for IT projects, and projects around network are not as progressed in this kind of methodology. So we're much more working with waterfall methodologies than with agile. But because I have done both, I can see that we would really benefit from putting some agility in our waterfall projects. And we don't really need to adopt agile methods like Scrum or Safe or any kind of real framework, but we can just add some agility. And one thing that I have witnessed in my joining the network teams again is that I can see that there are still a lot of silos between teams, and
Okay.
each one is doing his part, and then pushing the work to the next team, and we're not working as one team from beginning to the end of the project. And this is a very small step that I would like my teams to take in the year to come, where we become more of a one team and we work as a collective, rather than each small team does its part, and then the next one can take
Pass it
over.
over to the next.
Yes. So this is a very small example of how we can become more agile. Another thing I believe is always very interesting with agile is putting the client first. So in networks, sometimes, because it's very technical and people come up from very technical backgrounds, we are very focused on technical details and getting every technical little detail perfect, and having a perfect technical result. And we don't really think client first. So what would the client want, and would this feature be really interesting for the client or not? Sometimes we don't really think client first, and this is something agility teaches us, and it's something else that I think network teams could do more.
Okay, no, I think this is very true. Like, especially if you say, I have the perfect technical solution with all the specification down to the all details, but is that something that then my user will really need and use? Is ultimately what makes a lot of difference. And when you talk about user in this case, is it like the final person like me now connecting to the internet, or is like the companies, or is like bigger companies moving data? Who are you talking?
Well, in my case, in my position right now, my clients are businesses or
Okay.
other operators, and so this would be the client for me. But ultimately, we could even think about the end user, so the employees of the business that is going to use my network. What would they want? Would they need connectivity 24/7? Would they need it just for office hours? What would they need it in the weekend? Would they need big bandwidth or small latency? What do they need?
Okay, okay, no, so clear. So it's a bigger view, like end to end of who our consumer are, and actually how you can serve them better with the top-notch level of sophistication and technology, but that actually that serves a
Maybe
purpose.
maybe top-notch technology is not needed every time.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's true. That's true. Like maybe you're just, hey, this is gonna do the job. That's enough, and that's how it works. So I think that's super interesting. And when yeah, I think one thing that is really interesting when you were talking about is you see a lot of silos. I think in many organizations, all the big corporations see these, and there are some departments, some more and some less, actually, where some things like agile transformation makes sense. Other things like fixed network, if you're installing like a tower or something, you can be agile till a certain point. There are dependencies that needs to be followed. What are your challenges, even like funny facts, when you see two different departments talking to different languages, being waterfall agile, that you see like in terms of struggle, or what do you see? How do you manage that? Like some department that will never be on the same wavelength.
Well, like you said, agile makes sense sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't make sense, or there is really no need to go to production like 3 times a week. Because Sometimes we're talking about back-end applications that are not really seen by the user. So really having putting product in it every week or every month, it doesn't make sense. So yeah, I have worked with teams that have been that had sprints of 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and they had to work with teams that were working in waterfall projects. And it was really funny because, well, for example, when we were using the safe methodology, we would
Yep.
do PI plannings to plan our sprints, and so we would plan 3 months ahead, and we would plan like each week and everything, and we would need to coordinate with people that did not have this kind of planning. And sometimes it was, okay, so we need this for our first sprint, so it's like in 2 weeks. And it would be, okay, so my roadmap is like full, so I think I can deliver this in like 6 months. So the timing was completely incoherent between the two of them.
And how do you solve that when you get to those situations? You're like, hey, I'm gonna give it to you in 6 months. What do you do?
Well, this is something else that agility has taught us. It's priorities. So you try to emphasize the priority. You find why what you want to deliver is important, and you try to move it up on the priority list of the other team. And whatever the other team is doing, priorities always work. You can always move up the ladder if you have something that is really a big priority. And if it's not, again, you can understand that it is not, because there are other business items that are more important than what you're doing. And well, you're going to have to wait. But this is agility. Again, agility doesn't mean that we do everything right now. It means we prioritize. And if your top priority, you pass first.
No, I think that's really true. I think what the sentence you just said there, like agile doesn't, it's not a magic stick that like so everything is gonna happen now. It just matters like prioritize your business best, knowing who your consumer is, how you get to them, and like that. You maybe, of course, you're gonna have challenges and differences with department work in other fashion because they need to, but I think those, I think, is something that everyone is facing. And even talking even more of differences, I think what will be really interesting, because also especially looking at your new role, is you have differences between departments. When you go international, then these differences become even bigger. So what are the challenges you see or you expect actually to find when you work with net different network in different countries in Europe or across the world?
Well, for now, I haven't really been surprised by anything I've seen. People are very open and very kind. So I think this is the culture of our company that makes people to be open and kind. And I haven't really had any big problems. I think that because now everyone is using English to communicate, because we have this international this international team, so we all use English, and it's rarely ever the mother tongue of someone. So I think that there are always, it's a bit more difficult to express yourself when it's not your mother tongue,
Yeah.
and the other person might not get everything you're saying because you're using some phrases that make sense in your own language but not in English. So yeah, sometimes it may be a bit challenging to understand, or to really get the message. But I think we're doing fine, and it's not a big issue.
Okay. Okay. No, that's nice. I'm curious to see, like, maybe 6 months down the line. What yeah. Yeah.
That big of a challenge. I'm very, very happy to work with different cultures and see how different countries see different things. It's very enriching.
Okay, no, super nice. I can imagine also, like, but you work across just Europe or across the global?
So my department works in Europe, and there are, I have similar departments. So I have colleagues that are heads of similar regions throughout the world.
Okay, so you're
So I
dividing
focus
regions.
on Europe, but
Okay,
I talk a lot with my colleagues also who focus on different regions.
nice. Okay, understood. There are multiple regions, and then within the region, you manage all the country that fall within that perimeter or territory. Cool. So I think we are. Well, time is flying. So uh, last question, then before we wrap up. Lot of changes, lot of things moving. One of the big things changing in the change management is actually people, how people need to adapt and how to change. So when you're looking into this move, like from waterfall to agile, working with other countries, working with other departments, and therefore change and adapt to people, how do you reskill? How do you manage the resource and the people changement part of the story? Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, so yeah, this was a big challenge, especially when I did the transformation from waterfall to scaled agile.
Yeah.
I had a team of project managers, and I had like 10 people or 12 people that had to move from waterfall, from managing projects, to an agile environment where project management doesn't exist. So I think, well, what I did and what I think we should all be careful in this kind of transformation is, I tried to understand what the skills were and not just the role. Like,
Okay.
what's your title? I tried to understand the skills and what people liked and what they were good at, and how those skills could be used in agile roles. Because maybe, yes, project management doesn't exist, but there are roles that will need skills that people developed while they were managing projects. And I think it's very important that we define people by their skills and not by their role or their title,
Agree.
because it was something that was that I saw, that people would say, well, project managers, we don't need them anymore. We have agile now, and we don't need project management. So we should just get rid of the project management part. And I think that it's a very dangerous
Switch.
switch to make. We don't get rid of people who know the business and have worked and have developed skills. We can always use the skills in a different way. And so this is what I fought for, to try to use people's skills in a different way, in different agile roles, and of course train them and learn new skills in order to adjust in the new environment.
Okay, so if I hear what you're saying, you say at the end, the title, yes, is important, but still a certain point, because ultimately talent and skills and the knowledge that people have built is that what's really important, which label you put on it, then is just a matter of the methodology you're looking into. If people are willing to train, adapt, and learn maybe new things to leverage maybe the skill that they had in a different fashion, that what really makes the difference in making a successful transformation program a success. Being is that like what you're looking into?
And I think it's even better for people to define them by their skills and not by a role, a title, because
Agree.
it's easier for them also to be more flexible within transformations, because transformations always happen, because we're living in a very versatile environment, and everything changes so fast. So businesses need to adapt very fast. So if we want our people to be able to adapt very fast too, we need to separate them from the role and define them by their skills, because skills, they can be put anywhere, but roles, maybe they can disappear from one day to another, but that's okay because we still have the skills.
Ultimately it's the value that the person bring to the table. It doesn't matter which label it comes from. And also in different things we see a lot in different teams. If you take product owners, scrum masters, tech lead, they might have like different, slightly different impacts on different teams because they are different people at the end of the day. And cool. So I think it was really lovely speaking with you, Georgia, especially after such a long time. It was super interesting. Thanks a lot for sharing all your experiences. I think they are super valuable, and actually, I look and all the guests will look forward to understand 6 months from now, like some of the funny story you will come with working across Europe and see the differences between all the nationality and culture of the different
You
people.
can have me back and I will say everything.
Okay, sounds good. That sounds like a plan. So
So,
thanks a lot,
thank you for the
Georgia.
invitation, Marco.
Thanks everyone. I'll see you on the next episode and stay tuned. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you're keen to leave a review or subscribe, it helps more than you know. I hope to see you soon in the next episode. Stay tuned.